Hello and good evening. Welcome back to our very first live online meditation of the year. I hope you've had a good start to the year and that you'll have a fulfilling and rewarding year ahead. So, this this start of the year, I want to do a series of talks about how we can choose to be happier. Okay, so it's a skill that we can train and a choice that we can make. But first, let's begin with some loving kindness meditation. So, loving kindness meditation helps us develop a greater quality of connection with ourselves and others. And it's good to be comfortable. So let's close our eyes. Find a comfortable but alert posture. Allow yourself to relax. Now just become aware of your breath. Allow yourself to settle in. Notice the sensation of breathing. How the breath feels as you breathe in and breathe out. Allow your breath to breathe itself naturally. There's no need to try to control it or force yourself to breathe in any particular way. And as you breathe, with each out breath, try to let go of tension as best you can. All the tensions and stresses which have built up over the day. Now we begin our loving kindness practice by offering loving kindness to ourselves. By repeating these 4 simple phrases and offering it like a gift of good wishes to ourselves. May I be happy, be healthy, be safe. May I live peacefully. Just keep repeating these simple phrases to yourself. May I be happy, be healthy, be safe. May I live peacefully. Try to bring your attention to each phrase as you say it. And any time that your attention wanders, just bring it back to the phrases again. It's a very simple, yet very effective practice. May I be happy, be healthy, be safe. May I live peacefully. Now call to mind someone who has been good to you or kind to you. Or maybe you have never met them, but they inspired you from a distance. If someone like that comes to mind, bring them here. Get an image of them in your mind. Say their name silently to yourself. A feeling of their presence, maybe. And then offer these loving kindness wishes to them. Like a blessing for them. May you be happy. Be healthy. Be safe. May you live peacefully. Repeat these phrases at your own speed, at a rhythm that you find comfortable and pleasing. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. Now, see if you can think of a good friend. The first one that comes to mind, a friend that you are close to, a friend who stands by you when you need their support. See if you can think of someone like that. Say their name, bring their image to mind, and then offer them these wishes of loving kindness. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. And if any time your attention wanders off, don't worry. It's not a problem. When you notice it, just gently bring yourself back to repeating the phrases from the beginning again. May you be happy, be healthy, may you be safe, may you live peacefully. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. Now, see if you can bring to mind a neutral person. A neutral person is someone who you don't know very well, who you don't have any strong feelings towards, either like or dislike. They could be the person who gives you your coffee at your local cafe, or the postman who delivers your mail, or the people who collect your trash. See if you can bring to mind someone like this. And then with the same sense of loving kindness and of gift giving, offer them these wishes. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. May you be happy, be healthy, be safe. May you live peacefully. And lastly, let's include all beings, into our practice of loving kindness. All beings who you're aware of, and all beings who you're not aware of. Those living in air, in water, and on earth. May all beings be happy, be healthy, be safe. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be happy, be healthy, be safe. May all beings live peacefully. As we come to the end of this practice, just consider trying, doing 5 minutes of loving kindness practice most days if you can. And if you do it consistently, consistently enough, you may notice that your sense of connection with others may change. So try that and see how it works out for you. When you're ready, start to open your eyes and bring your attention back to the room. And thank you for your practice. So now we will continue with our Dharma sharing. And as I said earlier, we're going to begin a series of explorations into how we can be happier. So, happiness actually is a skill that we can train and a choice that we can make. it may sound surprising to some of you, or hopefully interesting and worth exploring. Now, most people think that our happiness levels are set when we are born. That is, it is genetically predetermined. So either you're a generally happy person or you're generally not happy. So I think I was somewhere in between. And that is what I assumed was how it was for actually the majority of my life, that you're born with a certain level of happiness genes, and that's how you will be for the rest of your life until you disappear from this earth. Well, is that true? Is that true? And the answer is, well, yes and no. Well, what Professor Sonia Lubomirsky at the University of California found after many years of research into this subject of happiness is this. One of the key findings that she found, that happiness is roughly 50% genetically determined. That means we're born with a certain set point of happiness. So that's 50%. That makes up 50% of our happiness levels. Then 10% depends on our life circumstances. Perhaps we may have a very comfortable life circumstance, and that helps us become happier people, or we may have very adverse life circumstances, and that makes it very difficult for us to see the world in anything except from being antagonistic, that we have to struggle to survive. Now, the remaining 40% depends on our intentional choices and activities. That means the choices that we make, into the behaviors and activities that we choose, actually have this impact, can influence our level of happiness by up to 40%. So 40%, some people think, it's not much, it's only 40%. But some people may think, that's quite a lot. I happen to be in the latter camp. I think, well, 40%, that's pretty good. I mean, it's pretty significant if you can actually increase your happiness levels by 40%. Let's even say, to be conservative, that you don't. That whatever you do in the next few weeks, few months, helps your happiness goes up by 20%. That's a little less ambitious, but I think fairly reasonable. Wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't you want that to be 20% happier most of the time? To me, that's kind of like a no-brainer, that you can actually influence how happy you feel. And I think most people would like to be happy. I certainly don't know that many people that want to be sad, unless you do. So, I'm going to share a story with you about an old, very well-known Korean monk called Bökam Kunsim. He was actually my precepts teacher, and also best friends with my teacher, Zen Master Song San. So a precepts teacher is someone who makes sure that you don't break the rules, as it were, the monastic rules. So when he was younger, he was really quite famous in Korea because he was scary, he was fearsome. He wasn't very, physically very big. I think all of maybe 5 foot. He was quite a small monk, but he was very strict, and that when he was younger, never smiled, So, for example, if some female devotees went to the temple to ask him for some advice about their problems and everything, uh, when they were talking to him, he would never look at them. He will always kind of face away. That's how strict he was. And then there was this story one time. I don't know if it's true or not, but one of his monks in his temple uh, broke the rules, did something that was against the monastic code. And then he got very angry with him. And what he did was he chased him out of the temple, then gathered all his clothes, this monk's clothes, and burnt it in a fire. That was how strict he was. That's why everybody was so terrified of him. He was scared. They were scared that might make some minor transgression in front of him, and he would jump on them. So my teacher, his best friend, one day kind of intervened and said, Sunim, you never smile. You're always very strict, got this strict face, and everybody is so scared of you. You must learn to smile more, okay? So, coming from his best friend, he took this advice to heart. And then from that day on, every day in front of the mirror, he would look at the mirror and he would practice smiling. And at first it wasn't easy because he was not used to it. He was always used to keeping this stern face. But he practiced and practiced and practiced. So that by the time I got to know him, he was quite old by that time, maybe in his 70s. He was this sweet and gentle monk. I would never have imagined hearing those stories about him, of his earlier monastic life, that he was the same person, because he was always smiling. He was like, had this really happy smile on his face whenever he met us. And he would joke, he would laugh. It was like, I guess, if somebody knew him from before and then saw him when I knew him, it would be a complete shock to them, because it was like night and day. So the reason why I share this story with you is that we can actually change our habits. That they're not they're not immutable. If we adopt different activities, we can change. And this is actually supported by the science, because what the science has found is that our brain is actually malleable. It's neuroplastic. So whenever we learn a new habit, like learning to juggle or learning to ride a bike if we don't know how to ride a bike, certain parts of our brain will activate and get stronger. So same with this, what we've been doing, this loving kindness practice. This will actually increase our sense of connection and compassion to others. So that part of our brain which deals with empathy and compassion actually gets stronger. And the brain, that part of the brain which is actually handles stress, the amygdala, actually does get smaller. So our brain, we can train. So we can choose to train ourselves to be happier or not. The choice is ours. And one of the very good reasons why maybe we should at least explore this and choose to do this is because happier people are healthier and they live longer. That's what the research has found, that if you're happier, generally you live longer and you live healthier. And don't you want that? Especially, now that in my kind of old age, I don't want to be sick. So if you adopt some habits which help you become a happier person, you'll be healthier and you'll also live longer if that's what you want. And also, people who are happier are nicer to be around. I mean, who likes to hang around a grumpy, short-tempered person if you don't have to? You know, I think almost no one. So, Dan Harris, who is the founder of this podcast and also meditation app called 10% Happier, which I highly recommend you exploring. Dan Harris used to be an ABC network news anchor until he stopped working for them to concentrate on spreading meditation and mindfulness to everybody. So his grandfather was a very bad-tempered old guy, you know. The word he used is curmudgeonly. So he was like that till he was 80 years old. Then when he was 80, one of his children, one of Dan's uncles, bought his grandmother a computer. So the grandmother didn't want anything to do with this computer. So then Dan Harris's grandfather took it over and started to, you know, learn how to use it. And that was when he discovered email. And then pretty soon he got onto Twitter and he started to write emails to all his grandchildren. And then over the course of about 10 years, he changed. He became this really kind, friendly, wise grandfather who's always trying to give good advice to his grandchildren. And then it was like this change happened, and he became a very nice person to be around. And this continued until he died when he was 90 years old. So it's never too late, you know. If he can do it when in his 80s, we can certainly do it in our, you know, younger age. So if you would like to be a little happier, maybe even 10% happier, then do join us for the next 6, 7, or 8 weeks when we explore the different things that we can do to help ourselves become happier people. And this is not just some kind of Buddhist belief or, you know, superstition. It's all backed up by science, you know. The very interesting thing is, since the 1980s, a lot of Western scientists have been studying how mindfulness and meditation helps us, what the positive benefits of mindfulness and meditation are. And I would like to share that with you in the coming weeks. So I hope you stay with us and join me on this exploration to how we can be happier people. So I'd like to end here tonight. And thank you for your presence and for joining us. Thank you for your practice as well. And I hope you have a lovely weekend ahead. Thank you and good night.